Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alex with another midweek market and thematic update. And on this channel, we document the growth of a $100,000 account I've created for my newborn son. We're growing the account using technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and some news. And in this week, we're going to go over some of the hottest themes in the market and see how they're holding up. A lot of things have actually been getting hit, so it's going to be an interesting week. But we got some interesting news after hours. So with that, let's get into the episode. All right, so big day today. A lot of stuff happening. Earlier in the day, we had a Fed meeting where Powell came out. He didn't change rates. He basically is holding strong. Odds of a September rate cut have gone up a little bit, but the market sold off after Powell. But right after that, we got some big news with the earnings that came out with Meta and Microsoft, and yeah, those things both double beat, and markets, gapping up and moving a lot higher. I think they're both up like 6% or something like that. Yeah, Meta here, blew past its earnings estimates and its revenue estimates. And then also Microsoft, same thing. So wow, what a strong market, and yeah, just keeps going up, keeps delivering. That was the big risk, was that these companies were not going to deliver, but now they're delivering. So I think the rally has a little bit more steam. So yeah, with that, let's get into the market monitor and see how the themes are holding up. All right, so for those of you who don't know, the market monitor is essentially a collection of data I've taken over time. And what we do is we track the market cycles. And so currently we are in market monitor yellow, and we are day 13 yellow, and we've moved about 1.24% so far. And an average yellow cycle is about 8.8 days, and it moves minus 0.35%. But, with the move after hours, I'm thinking, maybe we're going to remove one of these distribution days pretty soon here and go back into another green cycle, because that market is that strong. So with that, let's move on to some of the thematic updates and see and check out how all the hottest themes are doing. All right, so before we get into the thematic analysis and see how those stocks are setting up, TA-wise, just wanted to show you guys the NASDAQ after hours here. Yeah, this is an intraday chart, 3-minute chart. We had the Fed right here, kind of took the market down. And then with those earnings after hours, with those big beats, we went right back up to the highs of the day, and seems to be moving strongly again. So with that, let's get into some of the themes. I know we talked about last week, we had a lot of major themes heating up, like crypto, clean energy, the rare earths, the drones, and the AI, quantum computing and AI content. And of course, the mega caps are always there, but they're not necessarily always the hottest theme. They're kind of just in the background, trucking along here. But yeah, so let's get into that, and let's get into some crypto names. All right, so just to start off this segment, with some of the hottest crypto names, we have BNNR. And yeah, as you can see, BNNR, I think it had an offering earlier this week, gap down, but I guess that gap got bought, and it's moving up nicely here, as you can see. Yeah, I think after hours that day it went to like 27, and then now it's back up to like 35. So it's doing decently, off of that offering. So hopefully, if this market, the Qs are gapping up, so if we can get going here. I know that the dollar is kind of catching a bid here, so going to monitor how that affects crypto names, but these things seem to be getting another bid. The other name in that sector is BTBT. This is another Ethereum treasury company. Had a really brutal week where I think, what was this down? Yeah, down 37% for the week, or the last week and a half or something like that. But hey, it's right here at the quarterly moving average. It is below the VWAP, similar to BNNR, but I would expect, BNNR is kind of like the leader. Same with SBET. Yeah, they both like pulled back really, really hard the last week and a half. But, they're finding some support here. They're underneath the VWAP, so, it's kind of dead at the moment, but you know, with the Qs, you know, moving higher, you know, who knows? Maybe this thing needs to just go sideways and catch some more steam. You know, moving on to some other names like Cypher. Yeah, this week it had a nice pullback. It was, you know, it was making a really nice move. It was up, I think, 120% the last month. So yeah, that's what you like to see. I mean, this thing's just pulling back, right, hit the VWAP right here. It's a little bit of an aggressive pullback, so we call that a change of behavior here. So we're just going to monitor and see if it can make it back to new highs, which would be, you know, the 36% move here. So Cypher's doing okay, just pulling back. Iren, same thing. Iren is kind of the leader in this kind of space, but I mean, this thing, monster move, 300%, having a nice little pullback to this VWAP off the rally, only down 18%. This is the leader, so we might get involved in this one. But yeah, I mean, it's just going sideways. Needs to catch up to this quarterly moving average. But I mean, even right here, it could work because it's right here at the bottom of the range. So Iren is looking decent. Wolf is kind of stuck here. You know, it made a decent move. This rally was a 60% move here. It's just been going sideways. It didn't sell off this week, so that's a sign of strength on Wolf. And then lastly, in the crypto space, is this Clean Spark. You know, this Clean Spark made a decent move, you know, 60%, and it's just pulling back here to this VWAP off of the rally. And, you know, off the lows, the April lows, this thing's up 100%. So, you know, it's just having a nice little pullback. These stocks all look good. I mean, and now with good earnings coming out for the Qs, the major Q stocks, like, hey, these things can march higher. This still remains one of the top sectors. So moving on to clean energy, yeah, we have SEDG. Same thing, had a nice little pullback. A lot of the hottest stocks like had a big pullback this week. So yeah, pulled back 20%. It was up a lot today, like 12% intraday. But with the Fed, it kind of knocked it down. But like I'm saying, with a lot of these stocks, I mean, this thing is just about to start going, and it's holding pretty strong here. Looks decent. You know, moving on to QS, this one really died. Big pullback on QS. Yeah, about 40%, but right back into the quarterly moving average, and same thing, right back there on that VWAP from the rally day. Yeah, we're in this one, and we had sold these $9 calls, so this is right where we want it to be. Looking good, you know. This is a big high flyer, so yeah, it's right there. So moving on to ENVX. I mean, this one's actually even stronger than QS, you know? I mean, this thing is, how much is this off? This thing is up 180% off the lows. It's holding tight here. I mean, this thing looks fantastic. If it could just go sideways for a little bit more, or, you know, actually even right now, it should be ready to go if it's going to continue onwards. And had a nice little shakeout of this range right here today. This thing looks great. So that, not bad there. So Run, another solar name, big move, up 90%, bumping up into this yearly moving average, which is, you know, it's not an ideal spot, but hey, it could, once it breaks out and these things go across, that's a new uptrend. So this thing didn't really pull back that much this week. Looking strong, a lot of nice flags there. LEU, same thing. This is another clean energy name, uranium name, but you know, with this, Trump's starting to get harder on Russia, so there is risks here in this stock. As you could see, this was the leader, but now SMR made a new high, whereas LEU did not. Whereas LEU was the leader, so that's something to note. You know, a little change of a baton. You know, the Oklos and the SMRs of the world, and LEU is slightly. It's not leading anymore. So interesting there. We have these 240 calls sold on LEU, and then SMR as well. We got these 2 calls sold. So still very strong. Had a good week. These are much in play. Okay, so moving on to the third theme is rare earth. You know, these things are just holding very strong. I mean, it didn't even go down this week. just going sideways, and even today with the Fed, it was up today. So good news there. Just flagging, very strong name. UUU. This is another one. You know, I was also looking at METC or something like that. Yeah, this is another one I'll add to this list. It's not on the list in the video, but it's another rare earth company. Had a nice little pullback here. It's undercutting this range, but it closed below the range. So that is a little bit of a sell signal there. But hey, if it can get back above here, that would be a great place for this stock. PLL, ooh, these lithium plays got hit pretty hard this week. So, I mean, similar. I mean, everything's kind of just pulling back to this VWAP off of the rally, where the last rally started. Yeah, but we don't like this kind of V-shaped top. That's pretty bearish. Same thing happened with LAC. This thing's back to our buy point down here. So a lot of these V's, not really healthy action here. Ooh, Albemarle. I guess it had earnings. Let me see here. Did it have earnings? Yes, it did have earnings. Okay, cool. So, you know, maybe we're going to get a bid here because this thing was down pretty substantially. So, hey, that's good news. This thing looks great. I mean, if this thing can get above the yearly moving average, it would be good for a new uptrend. So that's good that it's moving off of earnings. So yeah, so that's it for the kind of rare earth trade. Let's move on to the robots. So SYM, I mean, this stuff is just holding in tight. This looks great. I mean, there's just so many stocks that look fantastic in this group. Okay, so SYM, we thought it was going to top. It made a new high right here. And then off of this, it could have sold off a lot, but it didn't. So this looks decent here. You know, if it can go sideways a little bit more or just keep rallying. I mean, it has gone up 100% in the last rally. So, yeah, watching that. RCAT, ooh, this thing got hit pretty hard back to the quarterly moving average and the yearly moving average. So, yeah, I mean, that one did get hit. So this is a drone play that got hit. This is not really a robotics play like SYM. So AVAV holding strong. This is a drone play. I was getting a little worried because of the amount of volume here. But if it's holding up here, that means it's like a new volume regime. So there's more interest coming into this thing. So that's something to note. You know, didn't pull back this week, held strong. That's good to see. Joby, same thing, holding strong. These are a lot of high tight kind of flags here off of this rally. Let's see. 110%, and it's just not even moving at all. So strong there. And Rocket Lab, same thing. Nice action today, especially with the down day. You know, the fact that this thing didn't go down. It was basically, here's an intraday chart. It held strong and it V'd. Lot of strong action in this group. So robots are actually doing really well. Okay, so let's check out the quantum computing. So Rigetti, this is, or Rigetti, pulled back pretty heavily this week, down about 16%. Back to this VWAP right here. It looks okay. I mean, but, you know, after you see this kind of volume come in, it could work. I mean, same thing happened here. So we could be in for another rally. I mean, if the market monitor goes green again, it could be a good sign. Same thing here. Unity's, what is it, off the high? 17% off the high. So this thing is looking decent. You know, it broke out of this big range. It's just, yeah, this thing looks great too. And then Roblox, man, had earnings, I think, and it's off to the races. Just keeps going higher. This is the leading name. So that looks fantastic. Nothing wrong with that one. And then BBAI pulled back pretty heavily this week. So yeah, I mean, it seems like the crypto stuff got, the leading group got hit the hardest. And then some of the clean energy stuff, and then the robots and AI, and they held in, you know, because they were getting hit last week. So, you know, as far as for this week, I mean, perhaps a little catch-up trade in the crypto. I mean, the UUP is kind of going up a lot, which is the dollar index. So we're going to have to monitor that. But, you know, with the Qs moving up today with Microsoft and You know, Microsoft is up a lot. Meta is up a lot. So we're just gonna have to see what happens. So I mean, same stuff. It all looks great. They're all flagging pretty nicely. There's nothing wrong with any of these, except for some of the cryptos got hit really hard. So or the BMNRs and the BTBT and the SBET, they're like the really high flying ones. They got hit, but everything else and the QSs got hit, and then also the open. But I mean, everything kind of just pulled back this week, and it's just getting ready for another leg. And since now that we got the Fed meeting out of the way and the earnings of Microsoft and stuff out of the way, I mean, perhaps we can have another leg up. So yeah, so with that, that's kind of the thematic update, and I hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you on Friday for the weekly update of the portfolio. Cheers.